It took 14 years to plan and 4 years to build. Now Toronto's Aga Khan Museum is ready to open its doors. This striking building will be home to a significant collection of Islamic art and cultural artifacts. Canadian Prime Minister Stephen Harper was joined on an opening tour by His Highness the Aga Khan, founder and chairman of the Aga Khan Development Network and spiritual leader of the world's Ismaili community. The permanent exhibits were collected over many years by him and his family. His brother, Prince Amin, explained their vision for the museum, the only one of its kind in North America.
Here, in Toronto, visitors from all over the world will be uniquely able to experience and appreciate the intellectual, cultural, and artistic heritage of Muslim civilizations in all of its rich diversity. It is my hope and expectation that this museum will play an active and effective educational role, helping visitors to appreciate, understand, and empathize with an aesthetic and a culture new but no longer foreign or alien to them. Furthermore, the museum should endeavor to institute creative outreach activities into the schools and other educational institutions in this area.
In its educational focus, the museum will reach out to speak to Muslims and non-Muslims alike about the peace, creativity, beauty, and pluralism of Muslim history. And in these tumultuous times, those values are needed more than ever.
As the museum took shape, His Highness the Aga Khan and Prince Amin worked to build a permanent collection, drawn from every region and period, and every kind of material in the Muslim world. The aim is to grow that collection for generations to come. From Iran, this 1,000-year-old canon of medicine was the work of Ibn Sina, known in the West as Avicenna. For 5 centuries, it was the most important medical reference book in Europe and the Middle East. Some of the treatments it records are still in use. From India, these watercolour illustrations are from the manuscript of Baburnama. They were made in the 16th century by artists Kanhar and Ikhlas. This Mongol-style robe is remarkably preserved for a garment woven more than 700 years ago. Ceramics from throughout the Muslim world share space with rare items of metalwork and fine carpets which would have been a lifetime's work for their creators. One of the most fascinating exhibits is this astrolabe. Made in Spain, it was an early aid to celestial navigation.
Fantastic piece of art, fantastic piece of scientific instrument, which is effectively one of the earliest computers. But what's remarkable about this object is that it has inscribed on it inscriptions in both Arabic and Latin, which shows you Christians and Muslims living side by side in Spain in the 14th century. It also has, scratched on it, inscriptions in Hebrew.
Visitors will enjoy this video display of some of the 1,000 artifacts on show. And some may be surprised by the richness of a culture which spans 11 centuries and 3 continents, from the Iberian Peninsula and West Africa to China.
For me, the mission of this museum is to change people's perceptions. It may happen tomorrow, it may take a generation to occur. But what's most important when you look at the impact of this museum is that people do appreciate the art and creativity of the Muslim world, and they also see it as part of world heritage. That's what this museum is all about.
The Aga Khan Museum promises far more than static displays of ancient treasures. This will be a centre for the performing arts, with frequent dance and music events. Contemporary art will also have a place, beginning with an exhibition of work by artists from Pakistan. It includes this colourful piece, which at first appears to be a rug. Closer inspection reveals it's made from more than 1 million gold pins.
We'll be opening up to 5 exhibitions a year, actually, in the spaces that you're in now. They'll be of international content, they'll range from historical to contemporary work, and we'll be also using the gardens to exhibit art. So this will be a very, very lively place from an exhibition point of view.
The design of the museum itself presented a challenge. The site is surrounded by undistinguished city blocks. so a structure of architectural merit could not be expected to blend with its surroundings. The solution was to set the building in a park with reflecting pools and flower beds.
We had thought that the site needed a civic space, which will be a gift to Toronto, and a landscape park, which immediately His Highness actually shared that vision. So the buildings became secondary to the park, and that's how we've conceived the site at the very beginning. The museum itself is a very simple rectilinear building to create a very bold statement, but its uniqueness is given through the way the building is chiseled. It's been angulated from the exterior, and that had been informed from the theme of light because it's a self-shading building. The upper part of the building cantilevers 2 meters out from the base. When the sun is out, the building begins to cast shadows on itself. And you can only do that when you have an angled facade. So the theme of light had informed that chisel, and the material itself, the white granite, is informed and hopefully responds to the celebration of light.
Toronto is a city of diverse communities and a vibrant centre of culture. But those were not the only factors that brought the museum here. As the director of the Aga Khan Trust for Culture explained to journalists, the location made perfect sense.
If we establish a radius around Toronto of 1 hour distance flight, you have 60 to 70 million people living in that circle, and those are the potential immediate public of the museum.
No forecast has been given of how many people will visit the Aga Khan Museum, but figures are seen as less important than the statement it makes. At a time when some view the Muslim world in a negative light, this remarkable collection pays tribute to the beauty of a culture which has graced the world for more than 1400 years.
The history of the thought and the creations of man can perhaps be said to be a long path from one period of enlightenment to another. I would hope that this museum will contribute to a new period of enlightenment, helping visitors from around the world to rediscover the common symbols that unite us all across the globe, across all civilizations, across time.